off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station KCAA. Home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Tiki Live, Amazon Music, Podchaser, JioSign, Rumble, and more. And I am Dr. Marissa, your hashtag positively opinionated host. And we do have my favorite male co-host here this morning on the show. His name is Sam Works. And you know it's Thursday, so it's time for Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
And and we are here because
You can, right?
Pardon?
You can
What?
hear me?
Oh, your sound is a little bit low. Let's see. Speak. I command you to
Can you hear
speak.
me?
There.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
You're gonna have to project a little bit more. But it's real clear, and you look cute as usual.
Thank you.
But the close-up is great. And I am here because this is a show about hope and happiness. No gossip, no scandal, no K-words, no Kanye talk at all. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And I do a plethora or a wide range of topics. If you missed my show on Monday, this coming Sunday is Easter, you know that, but it is also a global meditation setting intentions for peace. And you all know I'm about peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. There's over 380,000 registered around the globe now, 6 a.m. in the morning, to just spend a little time meditating together and setting the intention for inner peace, world peace, peace all around. So please do go to peacefulness.org, register there. It's all free, but let's do that. Then on Tuesday, I had a great show with the four-time Olympian, Ruben Gonzalez, and I forgot to do the Asian Oprah giveaway. So I'll do it today. The first person to go to drmarissa.life and put in Olympian will get this free book, The Shortcut, the fastest way to achieve your goals. And then yesterday, powerful. You know, anyone who's had sexual abuse of any kind. I had a repeat guest. He actually came on 9 years ago to do some coaching with me on the air, and his journey in this past 9, almost 10 years of healing from being molested by a priest actually, he was raped. He wasn't molested. He was raped. When he first came on, he wasn't strong enough to talk about the actual details. And yesterday he went through the details because he went and held him accountable. It's a fabulous show. Very proud of it. Chris Schrader did an amazing job. And so make sure you go free subscribe to my YouTube channel to see that. And then it falls right into today's topic. We're continuing. I'm getting my shows mixed up, Sam. I actually did the title as Sex Appeal because that's what we were talking about on Launch Show tomorrow. But it's actually Sexual Addiction Part 2. That's why if I confused you, it was not on purpose. But it did happen. So I'm correcting that. And we are going to continue talking about sexual addiction. And today I'd like to find out, I'm going to do an actual quiz, the questions that you can ask yourself, should you feel like you are in that category. We did the definition last week, so that'll be part of the show today. So Sam will have to take that test with me.
On the air.
You didn't know you signed up for this, right? But before we get started with this really important topic, and why am I talking about sex this early in the morning on a Thursday morning? Well, we're almost on the weekend. And those of you who've been with me over the past 10 years, almost 11 years now, I want to talk about sex because it is an integral part of our lives. It can make or break happiness sometimes in your relationship. And we aren't comfortable talking about it in a respectful way, and I think that if we can't bring sex into the light of day to talk about, then it stays in the dark. Kids learn it from their peers and porn, the two P's that are not the best teachers of sex, relationships, and so forth. So that's why we're talking about it. But first, we have breakfast with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
I'm warming him up. He's still a little groggy here, I think. We have breakfast in the morning by taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. 8 specific things that we're grateful for in general, outside of ourselves, on the top of the bun, and 8 ways to appreciate ourselves and who we are so we're not so rocked by criticism or compliments. Because if you can't like yourself, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork can you expect other people to? So we start at the basics with ourselves. Sam, kick us off. What are you grateful for this morning?
I'm grateful that I had a spare tire in my car yesterday because my tire exploded on the way home. Like, luckily, it was just down the street, and I was able just to drive it to my driveway. And I didn't think I had a spare tire, but I opened the trunk, I lifted the little carpet, and there it was. So I was like, hey, now I get to, change my tire for the first time. So I was very grateful I got to do that.
Did you do it? Like, I mean, you were successful in that?
No, yeah, of course.
Well, you said it was for the first time. Well, you said it was the first time, I don't know. Did you watch a YouTube?
No, it's just like I've been around long enough to know how to change a tire, but this is the first time where I needed to change a tire, right? So
got it.
Knock that off
so
my
you
bucket
put into
list.
practice there you go. I call it my bathtub list because bathtubs are bigger than buckets.
Ooh.
All right. I am grateful that I don't have a spare tire because my little Miata convertible is too small for a spare tire. Did you know that they don't have spare tires? So I'm grateful that I have a Mazda, what do they call it? Service, like a roadside service specifically for Mazda that takes care of me. Until I have a boyfriend, that's what's going to have to do. Yeah, you're going to drive an hour out to change my tire, Sam. But I appreciate the offer. That's so sweet.
Well, if I'm ever
what else are you grateful?
If I'm ever in Long Beach and then your tire pops, I'll be like, hey, I'm actually down the road. I'll come pick you up.
Yeah, if I find out there is a flat tire, I'll know you sent someone to flatten it so that I would.
I would have to come rescue you.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm grateful for sure, is my bed. My sister always says, like, oh, you have such a comfortable bed. And then I don't realize it until I haven't slept on it for a while. And then I go to bed real quick. I'm sleeping on my bed. So I paid a lot of money for it too.
Is it well, don't say the name until we get them to sponsor the show. Well, is it a what does they call them?
Tempur-Pedic?
Temporary. Yeah. Is that what it is?
I don't think so. I think it's more than that. Well, I think it's better than that.
I don't know. Them up now. I don't know anything about mattresses. All I know is that my bed is also, I'm grateful that my bed is so, I literally, like, there's the delight that I get from my first coffee in the morning and my last breath in my comfy bed. Like I'm like a little dog, that they scratch their back on the That's what I do because it just feels so good. And that we have beds to sleep on. Not everybody has a bed at all. So grateful for that.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more.
I'm grateful that I have a job where I can pick my own time, pick my own location, and pick my own people I want to work with. I think it just brings so much stress out of me that, I can live a better life. I mean, there's other things to stress about, but I mean, this is great. I can't complain.
That's awesome. Let's see. I am grateful that technology allows me to broadcast from anywhere. And, I'm from Canada, and I just made the decision. I get to go visit my niece and nephew in Australia over Christmas. So I will be broadcasting live from Australia. I shouldn't say that now because I don't know what the time difference is. 8 a.m. in the morning. I think that's the middle of the night, but we'll figure it out. But I'm grateful that I get to travel. That's my last one. I'm so grateful. We're going to do a side trip to New Zealand, which will knock off another country on my list. So I think I'm like over 100 countries now. I'm so grateful for that I've gotten to do that in my life.
Have you done shows in all 100 countries?
Oh, no. No. I didn't start doing the show. I traveled probably 50 countries before I graduated high school, only because this is the wonderful thing when your father was a professor and he had sabbaticals, and that allowed, I would go along with him because he would have a sabbatical for like 9 months, like the school year somewhere else. So I got to live in Taiwan. I got to live in Singapore. I got to live in England. I got to live in China, right? He was the first foreign expert invited to go back to China after communism came in 1974. So that's a pretty cool fact. All right,
Wow.
last gratitude. Pretty cool, huh?
It's really cool. I am grateful that I haven't done anything yet that would ruin my life to an extent where I regret it.
I don't know. You've gotten pretty close to the line there, mister.
Yeah, I always do.
Is there any update on that? Is there any update on that? The
No update.
The horrible stalker person?
No update.
No. Okay. Well, no news, I guess, is good news.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go to the bottom of the bun. What do you like about yourself? What do you appreciate? So you're not looking for approval or likes literally anymore. Go ahead.
I think one of the biggest things that I appreciate about myself is, I see opportunity in every disaster, whether it's like, life is trying to test me, I always see it like the other side of it. So I can go on a few examples, but we can do that later. The show's not about that today. So appreciate that.
But I like, but yeah, that's it's pronoia versus paranoia. So paranoia, you're afraid of, actually it's not the same, but it's close. I appreciate that I adopt a pronoia attitude. I choose a pronoia attitude every single day of my life, which is, instead of paranoia, waiting for the other shoe to drop, the worst case scenario, I am almost always, 88% of the time, looking for the silver lining. I have a life jacket with a silver lining. So it's a cousin to what you're talking about.
Okay. What else do I mean, there's a lot of things that I appreciate about myself. One of them is, having the patience and just never giving up, especially like in the career that I have now. I heard stories of like companies and people, individuals who are just dropping out of like real estate or like picking up a second job. And like that gives me the time to go even further into my career and try to go and like push more, you know, because if they're retreating, that just means there's more room for me. So
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that I, like Sam, have what we call the internal locus of control. External means that you are rocked by what's going on, what other people are doing. Like you believe that, there's nothing you can do to create your own future or reality, that you are destined, you fate by stars or whatever it is. That's external locus of control. Other people, other things control your life. Internal locus is no, when people say it's a horrible job market out there, and I'll say maybe for you, but it's not for me, because I don't want to adopt any BS belief system that is not good for me. And I have that power, that choice, that decision every single day. So that, what do you call that? Tenacity, hopeful tenacity, F anything I don't like. I don't know what you want to call that, but it works for me. I love my life. I really love my life. And the more that I feel that and say that, I know that more will be attracted into my experience. So, last one.
I appreciate that I'm a believer, because knowing that, something or someone always has my back and someone's always watching me. So I'm not going to go out there and do some wrong, dirty things to either myself or to anyone. So you got to believe in something.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that I have a God of my own understanding. I call him my UPS man, my universal power source. He delivers every morning when I plug in with meditation, when I'm grateful, when I appreciate. I know I have access to the power that made sure that the planets didn't crash into each other last night. So we all have that. And just dovetailing with your appreciation. And that is it for Breakfast with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
Thanks for joining us. I didn't see anybody playing with us in the chat, but if you're tuned in now and you're wondering who I have in studio, if it's Sam, it's Thursday, and you can live stream, so you can actually watch and listen on my YouTube channel. That's my central, LinkedIn and Facebook, but free subscribe there. You'll get a link in the morning in case you forget to have breakfast with Dr. Marissa and Sam Works. All right. And now we are moving to the topic this morning, part 2 of sexual addiction. And let's see, what did I write? So I'm not making it up again. We're continuing last week's topic of sexual addiction. Last week, we looked at the statistics and definitions of sexual addiction and all of the oxymorons when it comes to sex and marketing. Society seems to have multiple personalities when it comes to sex appeal and half-naked models at the car show and announcing rounds at a boxing match, taking down sex traffickers, but not talking about the buyers in the supply and demand chain. So we promised we would continue to take a closer look at this subject and its impact on happy relationships. So there you go. That wasn't bad, actually. It's always fun when I get to create stuff. Don't know where that all comes from, but it comes. Not literally. Okay. So what do you remember about us? What was the thing that you kept in your mind about our conversation last week? If you kept it at all, was there anything you were surprised at, or
I forgot when you pulled it up on the internet what it said. I kind of lost train of thought right there. I do remember talking about how it affects like business, and then the reflection of it when it comes to like religion and stuff like that. I know that it's important, like we can't, like you said, peers and and porn are the two things that really influence people. And one of my peers told me, and I won't forget this one. He said, "Sex isn't everything, but it's a lot." I kind of laughed about that, but I get it because,
All right.
especially in this day and age, a lot of people abuse it, manipulate it, and use it to their advantage to get whatever they want, whatever they need, just to get through life. And a lot of it is guys try to, but it's tougher on this side of things. So what do we got going on here?
All right, I got the quiz, and I'm going to ask
There you go.
you. No, we'll both do it. I'll do it, and,
Okay.
we'll do it out loud, just so that people who are watching, if you're driving, do not look at the questions. I will just read them to you because I have a lot of beautiful drive time people that are going into work. But these questions are actually, I pulled them up on purpose. Like, there's tons of quizzes out there. But I pulled it from a 12-step program because instead of buying something, like if you identify as a sexual addict, the other sites, have a thing you can buy or become, that's expensive and will treat you. 12-step programs. I love 12-step programs because, it's not, $15,000. It's a pretty much free program that you get solution to. So that's why I pulled it up from the Sexual Addicts Anonymous website. So here we go. Do you keep secrets about your sexual behavior or romantic fantasies from those who are important to you? Do you lead a double life? All right. So I'll give you a break here, and I'll go first. Do I keep secrets about my sexual fantasies? Well, I don't have a partner right now, so I'm not going to tell my daughters or my mom and dad, my bonus mom and dad, or that, about my sexual behavior or so that right now doesn't apply to me because I don't have a significant or insignificant other. So, but if I look back on when I did, I don't think I led a double life, although, the two things that when I do coaching, when I do couple coaching, the two things that people do keep from each other is one, masturbation, and two, porn. So, they're not open about that. And in their time away from their partner, they are doing that. Now, some people will say, well, that's, normal. And, guys can't have, physical sex all the time. And so they get their relief or release through those two things. So it's not that big of a deal. And then the other extreme is they're doing that all the time. So if that, where is that line of, it's too much and then it isn't? That's a good question. I'm going to see, but go ahead. Your turn.
If it doesn't apply with you because you're single, then it doesn't apply with me because I'm single. But when I was dating, very open, and I didn't have to, release myself when I was dating. Not because we had sex all the time, but it was more frequent than not. And I'm not even that, highly sexual in terms of like needing to release all the time. So, but I do have fantasies and I do share them with my partner, because it's always fun to explore. So, yeah, I would say I do not live a double life when it comes to that.
Okay. I put up 5 signs that Men's Health, 5 signs that you're masturbating too darn much. What is masturbating signs and what to do? They say that, let's see, there is no normal frequency. All right. If it's uncontrollable, Okay, so that might be the answer, right? If you can't stop, if you say I shouldn't be doing this and I'm not going to do it and you do it anyways, that might be the line, right? That of having uh, a double life, or hiding things, right?
Hmm.
So let's go to the second question. Have your desires driven you to have sex in places or with people you would not normally choose? That's a good question. Well, if I'm honest, when I was in college, I I have to say, because I grew up so evangelical religious, I had a warped sense of sex and premarital sex and all of that. So I wasn't a 40-year-old virgin like the movie, but I certainly was past, I think, the average age at the time. I know I'm ageless, so don't try to figure this out. But I think, people were losing their virginity, in high school, mid grade 10. It's interesting. I went to school in Ontario, Canada, and there was a grade 13 there. Oh, the only province that had a grade 13. So it was like a college prep, but it was weird because they don't have it anymore, because it wasn't even Canada, it was just Ontario. But anyways, so most people were losing their virginity in high school, and I didn't. I was, very religious at the time, and so that didn't happen until college. And I think I explained before how horrible that first encounter was in a past show. We won't do that again. But suffice it to say, I went from nothing to out of control once that bubble was popped. I could say other things, but I won't. But that was my permission to go to the other extreme. And, alcohol played a huge part in that, because, I also didn't drink. I didn't have a radio until I was 18. And I didn't go to a movie theater until I was 20. Isn't that weird?
Oh my,
That's like, yeah,
Dr.
that's
Marissa.
yeah, I know. I told you it was like very, yeah, extreme. So in college, when I went, a little bit crazy, and I did do the number 2, to have sex in places with people you wouldn't normally choose. I mean, not horrible, like I wasn't going to public bathrooms or anything, but I was definitely, the bar the bar was called the Ratskeller at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. So I have to admit that there were times when I would drive past a men's dorm and say, that feels familiar, but I wouldn't remember. I can't believe I just admitted that. But anyways, my daughters are not listening. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, that is true on my side. Didn't go as hard as you did, but I did, do stuff with people
How
that
hard did you go?
pretty dang hard. I've done stuff with people I didn't really want to do it with, and that's not because I was just like sexually active and high libido, and I was like, it was a different scenario. But that was a while ago. Now, I mean, my views have changed, and I know your has too. So I think we're safe to say now we're okay. But back
Right.
then,
Right. We may have
that's
been in the past like flirting with this. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering why we are talking about intimate things on the show this morning, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, and the special series we do on Thursdays called Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and co-host.
Sam Works.
And we're coming full circle, because I was honest with you last week. When I first heard sexual addiction as a term, I'm like, oh, please. Now we're going to excuse, men who have high libido as having, a disease. And I really was not very empathetic or sympathetic or believing that this was really an issue. But the more I thought about it, the more I did research on it, I now have come full circle. And there is quite a bit of unhappiness going on in individuals because they are sexual addicts. And so that's why we're doing part 2 today. And we're actually going through a checklist to help if you're a person that has ever wondered if you are out of control when it comes out of this, and it's certainly affecting your happiness in your relationships or with yourself, and you feel bad about what you're doing, then here's a solution. We're going through a checklist, answering questions, telling too much about our own love life, maybe, or past, but helping finding, because there is a solution in this. Because if you are checking more than, and I don't know what the number is on this list, there is a solution called SA Anonymous, or Sexual Addicts Anonymous. All right, so back to the questions. We are on number 3. Do you need greater variety, increased frequency, or more extreme sexual activities to achieve the same level of excitement or relief? Yes or no? No. And when I have a liberal partner who wants to try things, and I'm like, I'm not comfortable with that. So I'm a solid no on that. Sam?
When
I
it
think
comes
you're
to
a yes.
listen, if you do something every single day, you would want to like spice it up. You want to like try something different. You want to challenge yourself or challenge each other. And I'm not saying challenge each other in bed, but it's like, with everything, it's like you want more. You want something new. But with the same person, of course. So yeah, my answer is yes.
Okay. Dr. John Gray, the author, best-selling author, mega best-selling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, was on my show, has been on twice. When I have a new California Minute, we're inviting him on again. He agreed to come on. He has a new book, Beyond Mars and Venus. But he said that the statistics are twice a week, that is the average or the suggested number of times that you have sex during the week for a healthy relationship. And he was saying that that's a lot of pressure, for especially as you're aging as a man. And he says once a week, and looking forward to that once a week, is better than feeling burdened with 2 times a week. Just as an aside, I thought that was really interesting. Okay.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're a youngin, so that's interesting because he's a 70 something and very active love life. So let's see. Does your use of pornography occupy large amounts of time and or jeopardize your significant relationships or employment? So that's related to number 1 that we were talking about. How much time? This definitely is one of the number 1 chief complaints when couples come to me for coaching, that the man does spend way exorbitant amount of time. And it's interesting how what is too much for a woman. It's anything is too much because they're taking it personally that what am I not enough to stimulate you? You have to look at other women in porn. And there's been plethora of studies on how porn actually is bad for relationships because it sets up so many BS belief systems around what a woman should look like, how a woman should perform, how you should perform, and all of that. And it's interesting even how porn has evolved. And there's websites where the woman is the one being pleased first instead of going to that first position, and how important it is to put women in the equation. So that's the good news about porn, that there are directors that are women now that are much more balanced in how that all goes down, literally. but at the same time, the traditional wham bam, thank you, ma'am, continues to be the norm. How I know that, I do research.
I do research.
Sam?
I'm laughing, but yeah, porn is not good because first of all, it's entertainment. And then my research is not really research, it's just things that pop up on the internet. And then there is this porn star on an interview who was literally saying like these guys, they would have like ejections.
Did you just was that Polly on the button that just as soon as you said that word he put you out? No, I'm kidding. That was hilarious. The timing. You blanked out for a second. We lost your sound. Wow, that's interesting. Maybe you did get muted. I lost your sound. You're gonna have to go out and come back in. Not literally. Okay. I'm going to keep going on this. Do your relationships, let's see. Do your relationships become distorted with sexual preoccupation? Does each new relationship have the same destructive pattern, which prompted you to leave the last one? So that's a good one. Do you have a pattern in how your relationships blow up? So, no emphasis on blow. So the next question, you want to speak and see if I got your sound back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
We're on number 5. Is there a habitual pattern in your relationships on how it blows up? So that's the question. Around, my guess is around sex. I mean, you can have a habitual pattern about as soon as somebody tries to get too close to you, you run. That has nothing to do with sex. So that's a habit. I'm guessing that they mean a sexual habit of some kind. Mine is no. Go ahead.
Mine is yes.
Oh, actually, mine is yes, but in the opposite way. Like
Okay.
because I still, am healing from body image and body distortion issues. So
for me, from my experiences, the habitual patterns was when we're either having a great day, so that's kind of like a reward, or when we turn on a movie and the lights turn off. Like it's always like that. You know what I mean? Like you can almost expect it, and it's just sometimes I hate patterns because then you're like, okay, I know what's gonna happen next, even if you're not feeling it, But who decides that? Not you, apparently. So yeah. Anyways,
an aside here. When I do relationship coaching and one partner desires it and the other one doesn't, who wins? And it is that pattern. If one person is always the initiator, I recommend switching that, even if you don't feel like it, just to, if we went just by our feelings, you would either have sex all the time or not at all because of the power of our, where we are feeling that way. And especially with the research on women, it takes a little, kindling to get you to that smoking hot feeling. So my recommendation for women who just don't feel it is to allow yourself time. And I give that same, recommendation for men to, do a real long runway. Because it takes a longer runway for women than men. That's just the physiological fact. So you like that analogy?
Yeah. I've been living like a different life because my ex was just all the time. I'm like, even though the sex was great, like we would both finish, like it is what it is, but she was just like so frequent about it. I was like, there's only one time when I initiated it, and she thanked me. She's like, "Thank you." It's like, you're welcome. But it was just like it was too much. It was too frequent, and then that's when it starts to become
Yeah,
boring.
you are living a different life, Sam.
Am I bragging or
Your
complaining? I
guys
don't
out there
know.
are going, what is wrong with your co-host? No.
That's funny.
I think though you're speaking to a different generation too. I agree with you that women now are vastly different than the women in my generation, my ageless generation, for better for worse. There's no judgment on that, and in the good way, I love the way that women are stepping up to the plate in the sense that asking for what they want. I think that's super positive, right? Because I come
Right.
from a place where, you know, yank them up by the ears. It's okay. It's your turn. So, anyways, here we go. Number 6. Do you frequently want to get away from a partner after having sex? Do you feel remorse, shame, or guilt after a sexual encounter? Yeah. My reaction is, on one hand, I just want to cuddle. On the other hand, when I was in the throes of the religious stuff the very first time, I was like, the only way that this just happened is if I marry him, because that was the BS belief system that I grew up with. So that's when I learned. He said, "Haven't you ever heard of casual sex?" That was a tough day. That was a tough learning. Go ahead.
So there's a saying out there and says, well, it was actually part of a song, and he says, "As soon as I come to my senses," and that's kind of like what that question is. Like, after you're done having sex, do you want to like leave that partner, or do you want to stay with them? Like, and there are times where it's like, yeah, after great sex, and especially when it's with your, you know, significant other, like you just want to cuddle, you just want to lay in bed, you want to be even more lovey-dovey. But I did have times where I knew it was like my body wanted sex more than I did. So then once it was over, it was kind of like that lovey-dovey wasn't there.
Yeah, it's like meaningless sex or meaningful sex.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's like, why did you do that? Was it just to get a thrill, or was it a bonding experience?
Hmm.
So, we could spend a whole show on that one. All right. Number 7. Have your sexual practices caused you legal problems? Could your sexual practices cause you legit legal problems? Well, that's a no-brainer on that one. If you are caught doing something in public, and it's a crime, then yeah. So I wouldn't I wouldn't I would say no. You?
I plead the fifth. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, number 8. We're moving on because we're running out of time. We only have 10 minutes. Does your pursuit of sex or sexual fantasy conflict with your moral standards or interfere with your personal spiritual journey? Go ahead.
No.
Okay. Mine is no as well. I think there's a whole other show about guilt and shame that we might want to address, because that is, some people say there's nothing to feel guilty about. There's nothing to feel ashamed about these days with all the, polyamorism, with all the things that are now, it's out of the Pandora's box or whatever. So where again do you draw the line on what is something you should feel embarrassment or shame about, or this is just the sign of we're getting less damning on things that don't meet the mainstream norm. That's a whole show right there. Okay. Does your let's see. Do your sexual activities involve coercion, violence, or the threat of disease? No, for me, for sure. Yours?
The threat of violence, like,
No.
no. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, sometimes it can get physical, but I wouldn't say the threat of violence. Like, that's just a little too much. But yeah, not that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do has your sexual behavior or pursuit of sexual relationships ever left you feeling hopeless, alienated from others, or suicidal? Just the first one.
Yeah, hopeless. Yeah, I wouldn't say alienated or suicidal. It's kind of too far.
Yeah. 11. Does your preoccupation with sexual fantasies cause problems in any area of your life, even when you do not act out of your fantasies? So mine would be no, and yours is
No.
they do. Nope. And then last but not least, do you compulsively avoid sexual activity due to fear of sex or intimacy? Ooh, does your sexual avoidance consume you mentally?
Yes.
Well, are you saying for you or me?
For me, I can never speak for you, Dr. Marissa.
Yeah, my lack of relationships and sex for 5 years, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 hours in a day. Does that qualify me? Am I avoiding it? Absolutely. Do I have I is the BS, the belief system that I'm too busy or I'm focused on my career or all of that a way to hold that away from me? Absolutely. Am I working on this? Yes. Did I lose the weight that I needed to feel better about my body so I could be naked with someone? Yes. I'm 36 pounds down. Now I'm doing the toning. So that I feel, and I actually am committed now to looking into it's what's that? It's just lunch, the one where you speed dating.
I
So
love speed
I have
dating.
2 girlfriends. Have you tried it?
No, but I want to so bad.
Let's do it together. I want to try it as well.
I think,
So, but you
yeah.
have to pick a city apparently.
Well,
So
I
I should
also
call
think
them and see if. Go ahead.
some, like, I know LA and stuff like that. Their speed dating, you have to be like 25.
Oh, okay. Well, you got a couple years, but it actually sounds kind of fun to me,
Yeah,
which is weird, oddly
sounds so
weird.
exciting.
It sounds better than swiping for sure,
Oh yeah,
or
like
matchmakers.
if
Yeah.
anyone starts off with, like, those basic questions, I'm gonna be like, next. Like, you better come out with something creative. We're not here to just be on
Oh, you mean
repeat.
like what do you do?
Yeah, come on. What's your
What
favorite,
what
like,
what sign are you? What
yeah,
sign
like,
are you?
what kind of music do you listen to? Like, that's not gonna matter if we start arguing, like, oh, it's okay, we listen to the same songs. Like, no. Like, you just put that to the side. Come on, be more creative.
Yeah. Yeah. My absolute questions one is, did you like the movie Clockwork Orange? Okay. And if they say yes, no, they're gone because the humor in that particular movie I could not stand. So that's my deal breaker question. And the other one is, yes, you can be with people who have different politics, but if you like a certain president, then I am out of there because I have character judgment about you if you liked that president. So
Fair enough.
those are my 2 questions. Those are, yeah, that would be is that creative enough?
Yeah, that's pretty creative. I like the movie one because that's like a loaded question. It's either you make
It
it or
is
you
a
break
loaded
it.
question. because
So,
that movie is so misogynistic, and so obviously that's an important value. All right, so it says if you answered yes to more than one of these questions, we encourage you to seek help. So I think if you just Google "sex addicts anonymous," if you've gone through this and you really feel like these are some of the reasons why your relationships don't work and you're unhappy and you want to change, 12-step programs are phenomenal for being able to support change or a desired change in that way. But
it says
I think
if you said yes to any of them, like one.
yeah, so
I don't.
it's
I hate to say it, I don't agree with that. Like, because everyone makes mistakes or everyone has like some desires, and it's not. It's the body compared. It's like the flesh compared to the spirit. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to do it, but every once in a while, like, you are guilty of your own sins, and like it just happens. So I don't think if you experience this, like any of the questions, then call. But if I was like, hey, maybe like 6 out of 12 questions, then you might want to start looking into it. But like things happen like once in a life that, it just happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think just one is also a little extreme. However, if that one is like really getting you in trouble, that one with violence or the things that are legal, if those two, I would go right away.
Yeah, if it's
If
really
you
starting
have
to
yes
affect your life. Yeah.
and your job and your relationship, that would be the one that I would say, go, because it is a problem. And I agree with you that except for those ones that I just mentioned, 88% of the time, if you're not and you are 12% of the time, yes, but not the one on violence, not the one on illegal. Those are the two, and the one that's affecting your job, your relationship. Those are the three. So
Cool.
that's
I think
my
we're on the
that's
same
my
page.
opinion. All right. For a change. No, I'm kidding. Most of the time, 88% of the time, we are on the same page.
Yes.
So I hope that you learned something from that. I know I did. I know Sam did. I know that, this whole sexual addiction field is relatively new, as we talked about last Thursday. But it is something definitely as we continue to grow and expand in valuing diversity of differences in this whole, gender orientation and all of that, to keep an open mind and at the same time learn and explore, in the sense that how where does your happiness and your health and well-being intersect with these things. That's my final word. Sam?
Just stay tuned for next week because it's about to get a little juicier now. I think we're opening up more, not even to ourselves, but to the public. So we'll see where the next week takes us. I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll keep it tuned here. I know we're out of time. A quick happy birthday, dear Trace Austin. Happy birthday to you. Past guest, beloved son of Alon Carter, my co-host tomorrow. We're going to have a great show. We've got the Snoop sisters coming on. So it's going to be a fun show. Keep it tuned here. This is Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
wishing you the best day ever. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in.
Peace in.
Peace out.
Peace out.
World peace through
through inner peace.
Now go and have the best
Best
day
day
ever.